The Slave and the Lion, a tale of courage and kindness. In the heart of the Roman Empire, where cruelty was cloaked in wealth and power, there lived a young slave named Androcles. His life was a daily ordeal, waking before sunrise, toiling under the scorching sun, and enduring the lashes of a merciless master whose heart had long turned to stone. For years, Androcles bore his fate in silence, his spirit worn thin but not yet broken. One summer morning, after a particularly brutal beating over a spilt jug of wine, Androcles decided he had endured enough. With nothing but the torn clothes on his back and courage surging through his veins, he fled into the vast and dangerous forest that lay beyond the city. He ran for hours, guided only by instinct and the desperate need for freedom. The forest, though unfamiliar, welcomed him with whispers of leaves and the earthy scent of pine and moss. He wandered deeper, away from the path of men and into the dominion of beasts. Hunger gnawed at his belly and fear shadowed his steps, but for the first time, he breathed the air of liberty. Days passed. He survived on berries, roots, and rainwater collected in leaves. It was on the 5th day that he heard a sound, deep, guttural, and filled with agony. Cautiously, he followed the noise until he came upon a lion, a majestic beast, lying on its side beneath an old olive tree. Its golden eyes were half closed, and its powerful body trembled. Androcles froze, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The lion turned its head and looked straight at him. But there was no menace in those eyes, only pain. And then, he saw it, a massive thorn embedded deep in the lion's paw, swollen and bleeding. Common sense screamed for him to run, but something in the lion's eyes, perhaps desperation, perhaps trust, held him in place. He took a deep breath, stepped closer, and knelt beside the beast. "I mean no harm," he whispered, more to himself than to the lion. "Let me help you." The lion let out a low growl, more like a groan, and extended its paw. With trembling hands, Androcles examined the wound. The thorn was lodged deeply. He knew that even the smallest wrong move could provoke the beast. Carefully, gently, he gripped the thorn and pulled. The lion jerked but did not attack. A second pull, and the thorn came free. Blood oozed, but the relief was instant. The lion licked its paw, then looked at Androcles and, surprisingly, licked his hand as if in gratitude. Then, with a soft grunt, it stood, limped away a few steps, turned back to look at him once more, and disappeared into the woods. Androcles sat there for a long time, stunned. He had touched a lion. He had helped a lion. And lived. In the days that followed, the forest became kinder to him. He found fruits and clear streams, and sometimes, though he never saw the lion again, he would awaken to find fresh meat, deer or rabbit, left near his shelter. He smiled each time, knowing who had left the gift. But freedom was a fleeting thing. One afternoon, while collecting firewood, Androcles was ambushed by a group of Roman soldiers. One of them recognized him as a runaway slave. Bound and beaten, he was dragged back to the city and thrown into the dungeons to await punishment. The punishment for escaped slaves was death. But this time, it would be a public spectacle. The Colosseum was filled to the brim. Thousands of Romans gathered to feast their eyes on the latest form of entertainment, a man torn apart by beasts. The emperor, seated upon his high throne, waved his hand. The gates creaked open, and Androcles, gaunt but unbowed, was pushed into the arena. He stood alone on the sand, the sun glaring down, the crowd roaring like thunder. Another gate opened, and out came the lion. The same lion. For a brief moment, the world seemed to stop. The lion padded forward slowly, eyes locked on Androcles. The crowd leaned forward in anticipation, hungry for violence. Androcles stood still, heart pounding, not with fear, but hope. The lion stopped inches from him. And then, astonishingly, it rubbed its head against Androcles' chest. The Colosseum fell silent. The emperor stood, confused. Whispers swept through the crowd like wind through wheat. Androcles dropped to his knees, embraced the lion, and whispered, "Thank you, my friend." The emperor ordered the two brought before him. Androcles, trembling yet resolute, stood before the throne as the lion sat beside him like a faithful dog. The emperor narrowed his eyes. "Explain." And so, Androcles told his story, of the forest, the thorn, the act of kindness shared between a man and a beast. When he finished, silence reigned. Then the emperor laughed, a deep, genuine laugh. "Never before have I seen such loyalty between man and animal. You have earned your freedom, slave. And this lion too shall be free." Cheers erupted from the crowd. The arena had witnessed not a battle of blood, but a triumph of humanity. Androcles was granted his liberty and a small piece of land at the edge of the forest. The lion, named Leo by the people, often visited him, sleeping peacefully by his side under the stars. But Androcles did not forget the other animals caged for sport and cruelty. With his newfound fame and favor, he pleaded with the emperor, "If a lion can be grateful and kind, then should we not show the same to all creatures?" The emperor, moved by the tale and the man's compassion, agreed to release the animals and begin reforms in the treatment of beasts. The cages were opened. The forest, once echoing with the cries of the hunted, slowly healed. And so, the slave who dared to be kind and the lion who dared to trust changed the course of fate, not just for themselves but for many. Moral of the story: kindness knows no bounds. Even the wildest heart remembers compassion. What we give in courage and mercy returns to us in the most unexpected ways.